Hi everybody, this is Peter Chittum once again with RevealJS and Force.com. This is my fourth recording that is part of this playlist, and in this particular installment I'm going to take a look at the code that I've used to get RevealJS to work in the Force.com platform to generate a dynamic presentation. In my use of RevealJS, I have hooked it into account data. In the Force.com platform, accounts are businesses and contacts are people, and these are standard entities that come with every single Salesforce.com or Force.com environment. The first way that I've hooked into this is by just having a little custom link on my account called Present This Account, and by clicking on that link it launches me into my dynamic presentation, and I've already launched that. It's just right here. So I've already been looking at this today, and you can see that it's just using the standard RevealJS functionality for rendering a slide. There's my opportunities, and going over there on my account, again escaping out, and I can see the big picture of this particular presentation. And this is actually a nice view for me to start with, because if you look at this, the first slide is, we'll call it a hard-coded slide in my Visualforce page. And then each of the subsequent stacks of slides for opportunities and contacts I've also hard-coded. In order to get the actual opportunity data and the contact data, and in this presentation that would be these subsequent, so the second, third, fourth, etc. slides in each of these stacks, those are actually coming from my opportunity and contact data. So this is the use of a feature called a mobile card. A mobile card is a specific place where we can place a Visualforce page. There are a couple of other things that we can put in there as well. And in this instance, clicking on the mobile card will then launch the actual RevealJS page in its own space. And then we can use, normally we would use the swiping. In this instance I'm using the arrow controls to make the page go forward. All right. If you watched my previous presentation where I showed getting the RevealJS framework working in Visualforce, you'll know that I used a static resource for the RevealJS JavaScript and cascading style sheet files. What I've done in this instance is I've created a template page called RevealJS template. In that template page, I have the exact same links and script includes using the exact same syntax. So there's my references for actually bringing in revealmin.css and the actual slideshow theme CSS. I'm going to scroll to the bottom and you'll see where I've included the JavaScript files and the settings for the actual presentation. What's different about this page, because it's a template, I don't have any of the actual RevealJS section tags that represent the slides. Instead, I have this single Visualforce tag here called Apex Insert. Apex Insert has a name parameter that we use to bind the actual content of the page. So this template page is reusable, and anywhere where I wanted to create a dynamic presentation for some Salesforce data, I could go in and reuse this template. The nice thing about this, I could customize the actual template for my enterprise or for my business, and then I could reuse my look and feel that is applied to this template for any number of other dynamic presentation contexts. In addition to the template page, we actually have to have the content page. Reveal Account Basic is my content page. And just to quickly show how the two pages are connected, here this Visualforce tag, Apex Composition, has a binding to the template page that you just saw. RevealJS template, you can see there, RevealJS template. Inside of there, we have something that says Apex define. And the way that our templating structure works is that everywhere where I have a define in the content page, we use the name to determine where that's going to appear in the template page. So the name of slides will go into this insert. In a more complex template where you might have several different places to insert content, you could have several different inserts and several different actual defines to determine what goes where on that page. In the context of a presentation, it's going to be fairly simple. We only have one content, and that's the slides. And inside of that, we actually have then our slides div, just like we saw on the static page, and our individual sections for each slide. Finally, we have sections within sections for the stacked slides, and fragments for the animated bits. So all of that aligns exactly to what we saw in the static presentation. So how do we make it data-driven? My page here has a parameter called standard controller account. This is one of the features of Visualforce and of the Force.com platform. Everywhere that I have an entity, there's automatically a page controller for Visualforce. In other words, there's automatically a place to connect my data to my page. So that's all that I'm using. This simple notation also builds into it an automatic query if I pass an account identifier or a record identifier to the page. Once we have the account bound to the page as standard controller, we then reference that in certain places, and again, similar to how you saw the page here being connected, the template page being connected here to my content page, we also have bindings for the data in that account. And where we have the stacked slides, we're using a well-known Visualforce component called Apex Repeat that's an iterator. Everything inside of that repeat will be rendered once per each list item that is in this opportunities parameter. So account opportunities are the opportunities for this account. Down below we also have account contacts. And so for as many opportunities as are retrieved in that query, we'll have one slide in that stack appear. And then inside of that, we bind to the actual opportunity name. I'm also getting a little fancy using standard labels. Now, the nice thing about these labels is that they are translatable and localizable using our standard translation framework. Finally, how do we get that to actually work in the user interface? If I go back here to my environment, I'm going to go into the setup menu. And let's go and take a look at the account entity configuration. The page link on the desktop user interface that I showed, present this account, appears here. And you can see we simply identify that we want to make a Visualforce page be rendered by this link. Once I've created the link, I need to go to my page layout. And you can see here in my page layout, if I scroll down, there's the link for present to this account. In addition to that, you can also see where I've placed the mobile card. So the mobile card is also a pretty straightforward drag and drop feature. Any Visualforce pages that use that standard controller component that we saw will automatically appear here, available for use in the page layout. And I've simply dragged that off of the list here into the mobile card section and save that. That wraps up my walkthrough of the code and configuration for using RevealJS with the Force.com platform. So, where can you go next? First of all, you could create a custom Visual Force component. The Visual Force markup language is extensible, so a nice handy thing to do could be to wrap up the RevealJS assets into a component that you could then just drop into a page using markup language. Of course, you might want some more logic behind how you're retrieving the data. The standard controller functionality goes and gets all of the related records for my account. So you could easily add a little bit of logic to your code and get some more specific related records that apply to your use case. Finally, for some more advanced visualization of data, you could use the standard Visual Force charting components, or you could use custom charting libraries such as D3JS or Google Analytics. That wraps up this presentation on RevealJS and Force.com. Thank you very much.